Good morning, one and all, who are gathered in this virtual platform for this flagship program for NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program launched by the Ministry of Education and jointly organized by the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Karge Baba Amravati University, Professor Ram Mekhe Institute of Technology and Research, and Autonomous Institution. Friends, since last days we have discussed with the different modalities and in the implementation strategies of this national education policy that has been decided by the UGC and fragmented into 8 different themes. Couple of themes has been we have already discussed, and today we are going to discuss 2 different themes with the help of renowned expert Professor Atik Sen. So, warm welcome you for this session. Friends, you know that the information, ICT, information and communication technology has played a very crucial role. And couple of sessions we have already conducted on that session. In today's session, we will discuss on the roles of this ICT tool towards the assessments as well as the successful research writing proposals. So, sir will enlighten Professor Atik sir will enlighten us. So, I will not take much more time, sir. I extend my warm welcome to you and request you to start with your session. So, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Ankit. And I think we are at the fag end of our 8 days NEP orientation and sensitization program. Very good morning to one and all present here. Right, as Ankit has rightly pointed out, that today is the last session, and I will be rather sharing my experiences with regard to how we can use, rather how effectively we can use ICT tools, particularly for assessment. Right. So I think day before yesterday, or probably on Saturday, you had a session wherein you have been exposed to, that is how you can use ICT tools for research. But my focal point is little bit different. But before starting the session, I would love to share some slides with you, which will create a background. That is why this assessment is important, and why it should be taken up so seriously. Right. So I'll start sharing my screen. Any one of you, you please just tell me whether my screen is visible. I hope it is visible.
Yes,
Anyone of
sir, it's visible.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Javanjal ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So as I said, that is today we will have a look at how we can incorporate technology in teaching learning process, and particularly in assessment process. Right, that is what is the theme of today's talk. That is first session I will conduct on this. We will have some hands-on some of the tools. Okay, we are already using certain tools, but there are certain tools which I feel that it is the right platform to share, particularly with the teachers who have just entered into teaching professions, particularly young teachers, I mean to say. Right, so you must be aware about, that is how technology is impacting, particularly the AI and all. Okay, I will not deviate from our topic, but you must have experienced, rather your generation is experiencing, that is how technology is impacting everybody's life. Right. So we being a teacher, we are no exceptions to that. Right. Our role is again being rather challenged, I should say, by certain tools. Right. So how we can equip ourselves, right, so as to cope with the changing requirements, I should say, when it comes to teaching, learning, and assessment. Right, that is what is the theme of today's talk. Right. So these are the learning objectives which I have identified. That is, we will start with certain terms, rather psychologies of learning and instruction. Okay, wherein I'll try to give you a glimpse of, I should say, various terminologies we use. We use it very casually, but at the same time we need to understand how do they differ. Right, so we will have some discussion on the teaching learning process. Okay, then we will just try to have a look at the various factors influencing learning. Okay, and what are the modes of learning, that is transfer of learning and loss of learning. So there are many things, and unfortunately, I was talking about when I interacted with you on that is um, research ethics and so on, right? That time again, I have told you that we have never been taught that is how to write a paper on the parallel line. I don't think none of us we have undergone any course wherein we have been taught that is how to teach and so on, right? So we'll have a look at what are the modes of learning, what is transfer of learning, and what are the laws of learning and so on. Then gradually we'll move forward with what is assessment. As I said, my focal point is assessment. And for assessment, there is a standard model which is typically used that is called as the SAMR model. So we'll have a look at the SAMR model as well. Okay. And most of the ICT tools, particularly the standard tool, they must comply this SAMR model. Okay. Then and then you claim that they are standard tools. So we'll have a look at what is SAMR model, what it talks about. And at the end, we'll just try to have a look at certain technology enabled assessment tools. Okay, wherein I'll talk about what is called as the hot potato, Soccer.edu, Class Click, Answer Garden, and Net Logo, and so on. Right? So this is the overall picture. That is what we are going to cover in next maybe 90 minutes, 90 minutes or so. Right. So let's begin with what is the psychological learning, right? And what are the terminology? We use these terminologies very, I should say, casually. Okay. So, but I thought that's better to have at least we should invest some minutes, rather quality time on understanding these terminologies. So pedagogy is normally all of us we are aware with, but there are few more terminologies, what they call it as the andragogy, teaching, training, and learning. Right? When it comes to last three, many times we use them interchangeably. Okay, teaching, training, and learning. But there is a thin demarcation line between all of them, and that is what we are going to have a look at. Right? So let's begin with pedagogy. And pedagogy, I think almost all of us are aware that is it is the method of practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject or a theoretical concept. So what do we do in a classroom teaching is nothing but the pedagogy, to put it in simple or a straightforward manner. So it is the discipline that deals with the theory and practice of education, and it is thus concerned with the study of how best to teach, right? So how best to teach? That is, in what way we can make that teaching process, particularly the theoretical process, more effective, more interesting, and whatnot, right? So this was actually the very first time tossed by what they call it as John Friedrich Herbert, right, who's also known as the father of conceptualization of pedagogy or the theory of education. This is also known as popularly known as theory of education, pedagogy, right? So he talks about you can say the personal development and the resulting benefits of the society. This is how he tries to correlate these things. So you learn meaning thereby there has to be some sort of change in your the way in which you behave rather, right? So how you behave in the society, okay, and that is what he tries to talk about with the help of this pedagogy. We do it in our you can say daily teaching, learning methodology, and so on, right? But there is one term which probably I don't know those who are from the senior persons. I'll not say them, but particularly the junior fellows, they have never heard this thing. What they call it as the another terminology is that is andragogy, right? But before moving ahead, okay, this fellow has suggested five crucial component of you can say the pedagogy, right? One is the preparation, second is the presentation, third one is the association, and the fourth and fifth one is the generalization and application. So normally as a teacher, I am into teaching since, as I say, probably from 1990. So I have put in almost 34 years in this particular profession. But still most of us, I should say they are barring few exceptions, okay, we struggle in first three. That is, we prepare for the lecture, we present certain things, we try to associate certain concepts with by giving analogy and so on. But when it comes to the you can say the fourth and the fifth point, most of us, we fail to achieve that. That is what is called as the generalization and application, right? But when it comes to particularly teaching any professional course, okay, what I feel that generalization and application is of utmost importance. Now, we are again not very keen about when we give title to our subject. So even if you are learning mathematics or chemistry or physics, okay, you must have observed that the course title is always applied physics, applied chemistry, and applied mathematics, right? So it is expected from the name itself, it is expected that we should take our student to the level of what we call it as generalization and application. But normally we ignore this, right? We ignore this. So I personally feel that we must move towards achieving the concepts of what is called as generalization, as particularly as the engineering teacher, okay, and application. Okay. So having said that, let us go ahead with what is called as the andragogy, right? So this andragogy is basically the method and practice of teaching adult learners. Okay. Now, if you look at the input which is normally admitted into engineering colleges, right, they are all adult learners. Right? They must have acquired minimum 17, 18 years of age, right? So they are all adult learners. But a learner in general, an adult learner is little bit different. Okay, and this term was very first time coined by a German educator called Alexander Carr way back in 1830. Okay. And what he says about adult learning, it is the science of understanding theory and supporting practice. Right. So this has been further taken up by some US educationist, that is Malcolm Novels, right, who talks about the theoretical and practical approach of learning, right? So this is an old concept, but again, normally we ignore this andragogy, right? We struggle with pedagogy and so on. Rather, we are more focused on pedagogy and so on, right? So we never know, that is most of the time while delivering, we never realize that to whom we are delivering, right? So it is based on a humanistic conception of self-directed and autonomous. That is, our objective is to make them self-directed as well as autonomous learner, right? So the role of teacher, right, which was there earlier, way back in, I should say 30 or 40 years down the line, that has been changed drastically, right? So you are not teaching actually, you are simply facilitating learning, or what is called as the facilitators of learning, right? So how you can create that sort of environment which makes, rather which makes a conducive environment wherein the learning takes place, right? Wherein learning takes place. So I hope that is andragogy is a little bit. I have tried my level best to clear this particular thing, right? So, but this is again equally important, right? And this should be our ultimate aim, being a professional teacher, I should say, being a professional teacher, particularly engineering teachers, right? Now, again, as I said, that is, we many times toss these terms very casually. That is teaching, teacher, and so on. Let's have a look at, maybe we will not go into the details, but we will invest, as I said, few minutes on these, and then I will take you directly to the various tools and so on, and we'll have some hands-on, right? So what is teaching? Basically, it is defined as interactive process primarily involving classroom, okay, which takes place between teacher and the student. So interaction is the utmost criteria. Right now I am delivering, right? So here no teaching is taking place, okay, because it is a monologue, right? There is no dialogue, right? Whenever there is a dialogue, the teaching will take place, right? So who is a teacher? Let's have a look at, again, this is important to understand, right? Who we are basically. Vaibhav Babrekar sir, please, Vaibhav Babrekar sir, please switch off your camera. If I am not wrong, you are in a, yes. Thank you so much. right? I request all the participants that this meeting is basically, it is being recorded and it is as well as live stream on YouTube. Okay. So it is expected that if you wish to switch on your camera, doesn't matter, but you should look like a teacher. That is my humble request. Right. Anyway, so teaching is, many times we toss these terms again very casually. It is an art, science, and skill. Okay, these three terms I have put together very in a very I can say uh, simple manner, but it requires a lot of skills and so on. Right. So creative proficiency of an artist, teacher should be. Teaching is not that easy, right? It is challenging as well as, and now it is becoming difficult day by day. Okay, and the precise attitude of a scientist. Okay, the teacher must have precise attitudes of a scientist, and he must have perfected the skills of a craftsman. So there are, you can say the teacher, there are expectations are very high. Okay, what we can achieve, okay, that is again $1 billion question. But this is what should be a teacher, ideal teacher. He must be an artist, scientist, and must have certain skills. Okay, perfected skill, I should say more specifically. Okay, of a craftsman, because you are crafting the students. Okay, you are crafting the students. Your job is not so small. You are building the nation, right? So your role is nation building and so on, right? Again, we many times say training. Okay, so teaching and training, we put a slash and we use these terms very casually, right? But training is an organized activity which is aimed at imparting information and or instruction to improve the recipient's performance or to attain him a required level of knowledge or skill. Now, there you have had a lot of, I think 2-3 sessions were conducted on skills, right? So I will not elaborate on that, but training is what is the difference between teaching and training is, it is basically of a shorter duration. So normally when we want to acquire a driving license, okay, we approach a training school. Okay, that is not an institution where, right? Because it is a short-term course, maybe 1 month or 2 months. So it is basically of shorter duration. It is expected to give immediate results. So after completing that training, you should be in a position to drive the car, something like that, right? And the term training evolved during World War II. What has happened that if you look at the historical perspective, this term was when people were trained. Okay, there were shortage of soldiers and so on, right? So the normal ordinary citizens, they were trained to handle, you can say, sophisticated equipment. Okay, so this is how this training it has evolved, right? So you need to remember that is it is basically of a shorter duration. Okay, and you expect immediate results. So many times the corporate people, they train the you can say the newly recruited professionals. Okay, they undergo some 1 month or 2 month, many times 6 months training, and then they are placed in the, you can say, various projects, something like that. So training is of shorter duration and it requires it rather compel you to acquire certain skills and so on, right? So learning, on the other hand, okay, this is the third term which I am tossing, and that is what is, I think, our focal point, right? We go with learning, and then gradually we will see that is how it is to be evaluated and so on, right? So it is a relatively permanent change in behavior resulting from reinforced practice, right? Reinforced practice. That is again the keyword one has to remember. It is a process as well as a product. The peculiar characteristic of a learning is it is a ongoing process. Okay, and whatever you get, you produce the students which is nothing but your product, right? And the product is something like that. They have certain skills in certain areas and they are fit for, you can say, their jobs and something like that. So it is the nature or tendency of human being. Okay, and it is the process of mental development. Now there are three: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Actually, yesterday I was expecting Professor Ali sir to talk on this, but due to some reason, it was not possible. So I'll touch upon some Bloom's aspect as well while moving ahead. Okay, so it is both positive and negative. Okay, it is not all the time learning takes place in a positive. The positive and negative we'll have a look at, and it is individual in nature, varies from person to person. Okay, and it makes you critical thinker, transforms you as a critical thinker. So that is what is, you can say, the meaning, I think, in the right perspective of learning. So learning is something like, so this is a typical, you can say, basic teaching model, wherein you have instructional objectives, ensuring behavior, instructional procedures, and performance assessment. That is what we are going to have a look at in detail. But we need to understand this model a little bit. But when it comes to, you can say, in practice, okay, there is the Chinese proverbs. That is what is said, that 1,000 teacher, 1,000 methods, right? So one single method is not, you can say, applicable to all the teachers. Okay, you may have n number of methods, right? And because each individual has his different, you can say, my way of teaching is, or learning is different, your way of teaching or learning is different. So as I said, that is the basic teaching model talks about four important aspects. We will just have a look at those things. What are instructional objectives? This is what we narrate, the course objectives, COs and POs, right? So instructional objectives are those the student should attain upon completion of a segment of instruction. When a particular student undertake a particular course, he achieves certain objectives. That those objectives are actually clearly narrated well in the beginning. Okay. Second important aspect is, as you must have seen, is entering behavior. Because I have told you about when the teaching takes place or learning takes place, okay, the behavior of the individual changes, right? So entering behavior basically describes the student's level before the instruction begin and after that. Okay, so once you teach a 60 hours course to a student, and then at the end, what do? You go for the assessment, something like that. So the behavior of the student must change. If it is not changing, meaning thereby you have not achieved your objective. So instructional procedures, again, this is the you can say that you have n number of procedures, right? 1,000 teachers, 1,000 methods, something like that. So most, you can say, the teachers are on these procedures. That is, proper management of these component results in those changes in student behavior, which we call as the learning outcome achievement, right? So performance assessment, which is, I think, is the focal point of our today's talk, and we will have a look at this thing particularly, okay, in a greater detail. Okay, it consists of test and observation. You expose the student to test and observation. So again, there are a number of things, that is what we'll have to examine while conducting test and so on. So this we will elaborate in greater detail, right? So, and then at the end, what do? You award the student with some certificate or degree or diploma or whatever, right? Now, what are the factors which affects the learning? Okay, there are n number of personal factors. There are n number of, I should say, the environmental factors. Okay, and that's why many times when it comes to choosing a particular institution, okay, we go for IITs and NITs. What is new in those IITs and IITs, right? Nothing more than the environment, right? So surrounding, relationship with teachers, okay, media influence on learning, right? That makes the difference, right? So these are the factors affecting learning. Now, what are the modes of learning, right? Now, again, you learn by n number of ways. You learn by observation. You learn by imitation many times, right? Most of the time, that's why it is said that the teachers are the role model, right? Students try to imitate your behavior, right? So learning by trial and error. Okay, they will commit mistake. They will carry out some experimentation, commit mistake, and then again they will just try another, give another try, and then this is typically trial and error. And learning by insight, right, which is the highest level, right? So these are the four modes of learning, which is again important. And there is one more concept, okay, which I feel that is equally important, is the transfer of learning. So all the time being a teacher, we feel that that is the always positive type of transfer of learning is taking place, but that is not all the time, right? So what is a positive, negative, and zero transfer? That again we have to see. Okay, so a positive transfer takes place when the learning of a particular task facilitate to learning of another task. Okay, what we call it as the prerequisite, and then you have another set of things which you can learn. Okay, so that is ideally expected. That is always you have to have, what should I say, a transfer of learning wherein you are getting all the time positive, but not all the time it is possible. Practically, it is not possible. But if learning a particular task interferes with the learning of the subsequent task, okay, meaning thereby there is a negative transfer taking place, which is highly dangerous. We should avoid that negative. And the third one is, which is a sort of neutral transfer of learning, wherein there is no difference basically, right? So if learning of a task makes no difference, it is said to be a zero transfer. That is again possible. Practically it is possible, right? But we, being a teacher, we tend to achieve the positive transfer of learning, right? That should be the case ideally. But many times never happens. And again, there are different laws. I'll not go into the details from the name of, you can say the law itself, you can understand the meaning. So law of readiness is there, law of practice is there, and law of effect is there. Again, being a teaching, since we are all involved in teaching learning, we need to understand these concepts a little bit detailed, right? So law of readiness, law of practice, and you can say the law of effect and so on, right? Let's go ahead with what is learning. Okay, this is what I have told you. This is the crust of the entire thing, whatever reinforce practice, learning the behavior, okay, and so on. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Now, three domains of learning are there. I request Dr. Ingole sir to please switch off the camera, sir. Please, don't mind. Right. So, I don't know whether I am audible. Ingole sir, you are requested to please switch off the camera. Thank you. Okay. So there are three domains of learning: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Okay, these three, as I said, that is, I was expecting that Ali sir will be elaborating this, but I'll not go into the details. Okay, we'll directly move toward what is there on the agenda, right? So, teaching, learning, process, cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. These three things are there, right? Cognitive, affective, and psychomotor, right? I once again request, sir. Anyway, so cognitive, wherein we have knowledge and intellectual skill. Okay, affective is nothing but the emotions and attitudes, and the psychomotor is the motor skills and so on, right? So laws of learning, I think I have already talked about. I'm sorry, creating some problems. Anyway, yeah. So the Bloom's taxonomy, I'll again not go into the details, but we'll have a just cursory look at this. Taxonomy is nothing but the classification, right? And it was first time proposed by Benjamin Bloom's. Okay. And when I was digging up this particular thing, actually, I thought that Dr. Ali was the right person to talk on this because he did his research in this particular domain only. But anyway, when I dig this little bit, I found that there was a committee, how this has evolved, and which shook, rather kept me in shock. That is, uh, there was a committee which they have established to study the learning behavior of students, and they have come up with this taxonomy, right? We do have in our university set up again a lot of committees. What are our outputs and what is the output of a, you can say, the committee which is there in a developed nation? Okay, that one can very well distinguish. Okay, so we can very well find out that is where we stand, right, in terms of you can say the learning objectives and so on, right? So the Bloom's taxonomy, there are again various stages. Will not go into the details, but there are these six stages are there. And again, we struggle in the bottom three, that is knowledge, comprehension, and so on, right? Again, we do not have many things on the top level, right? So Bloom's, I'll not go into the details. Okay, these are the typically keywords are there that what is expected in the question papers and so on, right? My objective here is to take you, that is how you can use Bloom's level or rather learning outcomes for assessment purpose, right? For assessment purpose, right? So how we can use Bloom's to assess oblique measure the student progress. That is what we are going to have a look at. Okay, so typically, if you look at any of the question paper, you find that these are the keywords normally which are used. Okay, and as I said, that is we struggle, we never try to achieve that creative, which is the topmost level of Bloom's taxonomy, okay, when it comes to assessment and evaluation, right, particularly. Now, what has happened gradually, some other students of Dr. Bloom, they have again taken up this process little further, what is called as the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Again, we'll not going to have a detailed look at that. But the idea of putting these things, particularly in front of the young teachers, is to simply expose you that there is something like revised Bloom's taxonomy. And right now we are using this revised one, right? So wherein they have simply changed the noun to verb. That is the mantra code, right? So changing the names in the 6 categories from noun to verb, that is how the revised one has, and there was a little change, that is evaluate has been kept at the 5th level and create at the top level. So if you look at the standard Bloom's taxonomy and if you look at the revised Bloom's taxonomy, this is the minor change. Okay, and the another change, as I have told you, that is there is little change with regard to their position, and the another change was noun to verb. Okay, so as to make it action verb, I should say specifically, right? Okay. I'm sorry. There is some problem. Sorry for the interruption, but I have to take that call. Anyway, so I think where were we? We were talking about, yes. So there we are. That is revised Bloom's taxonomy. Okay. So again, not go into the details of this protocols and so on. Right. But yes, this is what is I intend to share with you. That is how you can use Bloom's taxonomy to assess. Right. So there can be numerous possibilities here. That is, you can have MCQs, that is multiple choice questions, right? Which is nothing but the Bloom's level 1. Okay, and Bloom's level 2, again, you can make these things. I don't know whether I'm continued. You can hear me, sir. Any one of you have to confirm whether I am audible. There was some problem. Any one of you?
Yes, you are audible.
Audible. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes. So as I said, that is now you can make. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation, Raut sir, and lot of responses I am getting. Right. So there are around 52 participants. Initially, when we have started, there were only 20, 25. Anyway, thank you very much, sir, for joining, and a very good morning those who have joined late. So as I said, that is we will be having hands-on on that is how to prepare MCQs, which is nothing but remember, or you can say Bloom's level 1. Okay. Then the second one is summarize an article, which is nothing but the Bloom's level 2. Okay. And analyze a case study, analyzing Bloom's level 4, and creating a spreadsheet, that is Bloom's level 6. So we'll just try to see that is how we can automate few of these things, okay, in a technology enabled assessment. rather using technology-enabled assessment, right? So, but before we proceed, we need to understand some, I should say, the theoretical perspectives, rather the problems as a teacher we are facing in technical education, right? So most of us, we came across these kinds of things, right, which I have listed out here. That is, most of the time we focus on certifications. Okay, right now, you are undergoing this particular course, again, just for certification. I should not say on a lighter note, I am saying, right? So focusing on certification most of the time, and that is what is the strategy of student as well, right? So undue focus on marks. Many times we give undue focus on marks, meaning there were, let's say, out of 80, and we most of the time we have 40 as the criteria. So we have fixed passing criteria. That is again the hurdle. Okay. And many times we have issues when it comes to autonomy. Now your institution is experiencing it. Okay. So the biggest challenge, I should say, we face whenever we go for autonomy is the integrity of the teachers, right? So that is again needs to be addressed. Then there are lack of, you can say, qualitative feedback. Now AICT has mandated is to go for what is called as the 360-degree feedback, but in reality we don't have any feedback, right? So there is no feedback when it comes to teaching learning. Okay, lack of assessment of high level outcomes, right? That is the highest level is the creativity and so on, right? Then negligible assessment, right? In the psychomotor and affective domain. That is again, you can say, is the another bottleneck of assessment methodology, right? And then many times we go for liberal marking. Let's say I am not engaging the classes. Okay, expected in a semester, it is expected that I should engage around 60 odd lectures, but I am taking only 40 or 30. Then what do I do most of the time, particularly in autonomy, we go for what is called as the liberal marking, right? We set the paper, whatever we have taught in the class, maybe 3 units. Okay, now out of 3 units, the student will take only 1 unit or 2 units. So look at the scenario. I'm not saying that it is always true, but this is the challenge we are facing, all of us facing, right? Then lack of assessment culture and language of assessment. Okay, that is again requires some sort of, you can say, upskilling and reskilling as a teacher as well, right? So these are the problems. Okay, but before directly going to the tools, again we need to understand what is the difference between assessment and evaluation. So assessment is basically an ongoing process aimed at understanding and improving the student learning, right? Assessment is typically, it is an it is a process, and that's why we talk of in particularly autonomous institution, the context, we most of the time when it comes to assessment, we say there is a continuous assessment, right? So the examinations, to reduce the exam fever, okay, we are making it after every 1 unit, 2 unit, and so on, right? Whereas evaluation is the judgment or determination of the quality of performance, product, or use of process against a standard. So evaluation usually takes place at the end, right? So it is not, you can say, a continuous process. Rather, it is at the. That's why most of the, you can say, the organizations, they are coming up with some exit exam. Okay, even though you have qualified BTech, okay, but before entering into industry, you have to appear for exit examination, right? So that is why, right? So that gives you the judgment of the quality of performance and so on, right? So which assessment method one should look at, right? Which one is better? Okay, that is again many times comes to our mind, right? So I'll give you a beautiful analogy. I hope that this will make the things little bit, I should say, more. Again, my yeah. I hope my slides are visible. Yes. So many times it is said that cooking is easy, but washing the utensils is difficult, right? So similarly, while delivering in the class or lecturing is easy, but when it comes to assessment, it is considered to be as the most difficult task. Okay. So this is one of the biggest challenge, I should say, right? We as a teacher, all of us, we face, right? Now, how we can use, you can say, technology when it comes to assessment, and that is what is the, you can say, the theme of today's talk. That is, what is TEA? That is the technology enabled assessment. Okay, it is something like wherein we are using computers or maybe some softwares to make the assessment process, you can say automated, I should say, to put it in simple, straightforward words, right? So again, there are different types of testing which takes place. Maybe many times we go for objective testing, many times we go for subjective testing. So as far as objective testing is concerned, okay, whatever tool we are going to discuss today, they are well suited for them, I should say. Right? They are well suited for them, okay, and you can very well use them for your teaching learning, making your teaching learning more effective and so on, right? So objective is well suited. When it comes to subjective assessment, many times these tools have certain drawbacks, I should say, wherein, but again, the things are changing with jet speed. Okay, but again, there are tools, but we will not explore. Today, we will simply focus on how we can conduct objective testing using technology enabled tool, or particularly the ICT tools, right? Again, when it comes to assessment, there are different types of assessment, what is called as the diagnostic assessment or a summative assessment, which normally we take at the end of the semester and so on, right? And the third one is the integrative assessment, right? So these three types of assessments are there. We will see that is how we can make our life, you can say, more comfortable while using the technology for making all this happen, right? Now, as I said, there are tools for diagnostic assessment tools. Okay, again, you have list, but some of them I have listed out here. One of them is the Google Form, right, which you are using, Google Classroom. Most of us, we are using. The another one which we are going to explore is, we will not talk about Google Form today. I'll take you to hot potato. Maybe we will have class kick. Okay, maybe we will just try some hands-on on answer garden, right, and so on. And for feedback, once again, you have again thousands of tools, but if time permits, we will just try to have a look at Flipgrid, Class Kick, or e-portfolio and so on, right? And collaborative learning assessment, again, you have a number of tools, right? So the idea here is to simply expose you, that is how we can use these tools for, particularly for, you can say, objective assessment, okay, objective assessment, right? So I think this was the last but one point I have told you in the beginning. That is, we will have a look at a model, what is called as the SAMR model. Okay, the SAMR model is basically used for simply you should say that it is used for identifying whether a particular ICT tool is good or bad, I should say, or it is standard or not, right? So SAMR model talks about four peculiar characteristics of a tool. The very first one is the substitution. Now, if you typically look at, let's take Google form as a tool, okay, for assessment, okay, and just find out whether it comply to these four mandatory requirements or not, right? If yes, if the answer is yes, then you can very well claim that Google form complies to SAMR model of evaluation, and it can be used for assessment purpose, right? So it is a sort of standard, I should say. So the very first one characteristic is the substitution. That is, student can fill out forms online. Okay, that is very much there in a Google form. Second one is augmentation. That is, teachers can curate the student responses, okay, which is again very much possible in Google form, right? And the third characteristic is the modifications. That is, teachers and student can collaborate, analyze, contrast, and compare results immediately to fill out the form. So that is again there, right? That is again there. So, and the fourth peculiar characteristics, as I said, is the you can say the redefinition. That is, teacher can reach unlimited learners. That is again possible in Google form, right? So that is again possible in Google form. So you can very well conclude that Google form satisfies the criteria for SAMR model, right? for the SAMR model, right? So you can, without any hitch, you can use Google Form for evaluation purpose, right? Now, as I said, that is, we will have a look at hot potatoes. I don't know how many of you have came across this particular tool. If anyone, please unmute yourself, and you can very well say. Or otherwise, we'll have a look at this particular tool in greater detail, right? Wherein I'll just show you. This is a small freeware tool. Okay, it is not. I'm not saying that it is open source and so on, right? It is a free tool available which you can download on your machine. Okay, and you can create. It is, as a matter of fact, it is a bundle of 6 utilities. Okay, each utility has some specific function to perform. For example, jquiz for creating a quiz, jclose for creating a fill in the blanks type of questions, jcross is for crossword puzzle, jmatch is for um, matching exercise. Okay, and jmix is typically used for jumbled sentence. And the last tool, which one is the sixth one, is the jmasher. This you can use for whatever exercises, 5 exercises you have created by using all these tools. You can create it as a unit. That's why the name masher, right? jmasher, right? So this is the sixth tool, okay, which is there in hot potatoes. Okay, these are some screenshots, but we'll just have a hands-on. Okay, as I said, this jquiz you can use for creating a quiz, fill in the blanks. Okay, and you can create a crossword as well, right? Using jcross, we will have a hands-on on these 5 tools, and you can create an ordering exercise. Okay, you can made it with jmatch and so on, right? And jmix, the jumbled sentence. Okay, and so on. So to conclude, okay, what are the takeaways for as far as this, I should say, the theoretical foundation of assessment tool is concerned? Okay, so you should try to move from the bottommost level to the highest level. Okay, that should be the objective while framing questions and all, right? And this is how you can achieve, I should say, uh, you can create a questionnaire which will satisfy the Bloom's criteria, right? So these are the 2 takeaways. Thank you. Now, as I said, I'll take you to these tools. Okay, I hope that the holidays are going on. Those who are particularly sitting on their uh, PCs, you can try some hands-on, or otherwise I will demonstrate here only, no worries, right? So as I said, that is the very first tool is the, I hope my screen is visible, right? The very first tool is the hot potato. So you can Google it. Okay. So as I said, this is a freeware. Okay. You can download the small utility. Okay. Once you download it, okay, you can run the program. And since I have downloaded on my machine, okay, I will directly take you to the tool. Okay, this is small executable file, and the latest version is the hot potato 7, right? That is the latest version which is available, and it is a freeware. So without any glitch, you can download it. Okay, now I'm running it. Okay, very small file is there, tiny file is there. You can run it. Okay, so as I was talking about, that is, it is a bundle of utilities: jclose, jquiz, jcross, jmatch, and jmix. And on the right hand side, you can very well see it is a masher. So masher you can use for creating whatever exercises you have created with the help of these 5 into one. Right? Now let us begin with what should I say? Let us begin with match, J match. Now I am invoking J match. As I said, you need to give some title. Let's say exercise 1. Okay. So as the name suggests, okay, it is a matching exercise. Okay, before doing anything, you need to save it. It's better if you save it with some name. Say matching exercise. Okay, I am overwriting it. Yes. All right. Now what I am doing on the left hand side, there are two panels. Okay, left and right. Okay, left you can write certain things. Let's say for example Nagpur. Okay. Okay, let's say Amravati. Let's say Kolhapur. And one more, let's say Kolhapur. Okay. On the right hand side, you can have the right answers or whatever. Right. We'll try some hands-on, right? Oranges, maybe Amravati is famous for, let's say, cotton, Kolhapur for say, textile industry, and Kolhapur maybe for leather industry. Now, if you look at this, you have various things over here. That is, one is the, you can say the help. Okay. Next is the configuration. Now, let us configure this. Okay. Go to this configuration file. I am simply clicking on this is the second button from right hand corner. Okay. Go to configuration. Now, you can configure this test in different ways and means. That is, you can even say change the appearance. Let's say you want to change the color. Okay, of this quiz, how it should look like. Okay, I'm making it red, it's a green maybe, or let's say red, and so on, right? And you can set the timer as well. Let's say if you want set a timer, go for 10 minutes. Right. Now I have configured it. What I'll be going for, I'll go for export. Okay, this is probably the, you can do rest other things are open, save and so on, right? This one is the export to create a hot potato exercise. Now I'm going for a matching exercise. Okay, I'm saving it. Now it is asking me, now it has created that exercise, whatever small exercise I have tried to create. Okay, now you can view the exercise in your browser. Okay, let's say you want to check it out whether it has been done or not, right? So this is the very first exercise which we have created. It is little bit now, you can very well see the timer here, right? Now you can pick any one of the options. All the 4 options are appearing, maybe say oranges, cotton. I have fixed it. That's why it is giving, see, you must have observed typically, I have fixed all the answers. Okay, that's why it is giving this in, it is not allowing me to pick any one of them, right? So you can make modifications, right? So this is how you can create a matching exercise, okay? And then you can go for check, your score is 100%. Why it has happened? Because we have fixed the answers, okay? Otherwise in the drop-down list, it will ask you to pick any one of the correct answers. And whatever you pick, whether it is correct or not, accordingly, the score will be computed. So intentionally, I have tried that fix option for all. That's why it has happened like this, right? So this is the very first module, I should say, of JMatch. JMatch. Now let's go ahead with the another one, which is, now let us try to remove this. Okay. I'm not going for a fix. Export exercise. say matching exercise once again overwrite it. Now let's have a look at in the browser. Now it is giving me in the form of question mark. Now I can pick any one of them, right? Let's say for Nagpur, I am selecting leather industry. Amravati, I may select something else. Okay, Solapur, maybe oranges, and so on, right? Check the answers. So my answer, only one answer is correct. So it is giving 25% as the score, right? So this is how you can create, I should say, the matching exercise using hot potatoes, right? Hot potatoes. Let's move ahead with the second one. Okay. The second one is the crossword. Let us try some crossword. That is how to create a crossword using hot potatoes. So J cross, if you remember, I have told you that is J cross you can use for creating a crossword. So while creating a crossword, what is there? You need to go for this manage grid first. Okay. Go for manage grid. Go for automatic grid maker. Okay. You can customize it, but right now I am using the simplest possible option. Let's try to create a, you can say, crossword, okay, wherein I am giving certain keywords like say sister, okay. You need to remember only one thing, that is each keyword is to be given on one line. That is second line, next keyword, let's say tour, okay. The third one may be UK and so on. Okay. So make the grid is the right. On the right hand side, you have got the option called make the grid. Now you make the grid, these options will appear here. Okay. Now, just like in crossword, we have clues. So those clues you can add by means of this add clues. Okay. This add clues you can use for giving clues to the crossword solver. Say, let's say for sister, I will give a clue as female siblings. Right? Say okay. For UK, maybe let's say European country. And third one, tour, maybe tour, I am giving a clue as trip. And let's say okay. Now I have given clues. Okay, I have given the keywords. Okay, clues have been added. Let's go to, see, it is showing untitled right now because I have not saved it. Let us save it first. Okay, go to file and save. So this is my folder. I'll save it here. So let's say J cross. Okay, I will overwrite it. Yes. All right. So I have created an exercise called jcross.html. Okay. Grid I have used as the default grid and so on. Okay. Now let us go to, you can say, the export to create hot potatoes version 7. Let us click on that. It is saying that you haven't entered all of the clues yet. Okay. Let's go to clues once again. So one is missing, that is UK is missing. So for UK, I'll give, let's say, European country. Click on OK. Okay, now the clue has been added. Go to OK. Now let's go to this export to create hot potatoes. J cross 1. Now I can view this in my exercise. Okay. So this is what has been created, right? This is what has been created, a crossword. Now I can attempt this crossword. The very first one is, now I'll get the hint here. Okay. So the first letter it is displaying, let's say sister. Okay, and hit enter key. Okay. Second is, you remember, it was, let's go to hint, tour, T-O-U-R, right? Hit enter key. This has been created. Okay. And the third one, you need to click on 3 and let's say, what was the third one? UK, right? Hit enter key. Now it has been solved by me. Let's go to check. Okay. So this is how you can create a crossword using hot potato, right? Now let's move ahead with the another exercise. Okay, J match we have seen, J cross we have seen. Okay, let's go to J quiz. Just try to create a quiz. Okay, J quiz. Okay, so let us give the title as quiz 1. Here I can type the question. Let's say, in which year did the World Wide Web become publicly accessible? Okay, this is the question. Now I can have various possibilities here. Okay, I can go for a multiple choice question, or I can go for a short answer type question, or I can go for a hybrid, or I can go for a multi-select, right? So let's go for a multiple choice question, okay, and provide your answers here. Maybe let's say 1983, maybe let's say 1995, okay, 2000, and one more you can have as 1991. Okay. Now, on the right hand side, in this setting tab, you have to specify which is the correct answer. Let us click this 1995 as the correct answer. All right. Now, this I have created. Okay. Once again, you need to save it. Okay. Quiz exercise. I am overwriting it. It is done. Okay. Now you can go to once again configure menu, wherein you can set the timer. Let's say this time only 1 minute, or maybe let's say 2 minutes. Only one question we have given. Okay. This way you can set a number of questions. This one is the first one, second one, and to your surprise, there is no limit. Logically speaking, you can have 1,000, 10,000 question, whatever you feel. Right. So that is the beauty of this small tool, which is very handy. Right. And let's go to this export to create. I have not configured it. Okay. Okay. Let's see what's the default. Yes, the default is a black and white sort of thing. You can configure this just like we have configured in the earlier case. Okay, now I can pick up the right answer. Let's say 1995. Okay, your answer is 100% correct. So your score is 100%, something like that. Right. So this is how you can create quizzes using this. Okay. The another important feature of this hot potato is you can create what is called as jumbled sentence exercise. Okay, that is what is called as the JMix. All right. Now I'm saying exercise 1. Okay, main sentence. You can give alternate sentence. Okay, and more or less the UI is almost same. The only thing is that you need to get familiar with maybe 10 to 15 minutes it will take to get familiarity with this particular small tool, right? But you can do a lot of things here. Okay, so you can type the chronology of statement. Let's say today I woke up at, you can say 5 a.m. Okay, then did some exercise. Let's say, right, took bath. And let's say had my breakfast. So you can give alternate sentences here. Okay, whatever alternate sentences you would like to have. Okay. Okay. So allow sentences which do not use all words and punctuation in main sentence. Again, that feature is there. Okay. So let us save it. Let us save it. So jumbled sentence exercise. Again, I am writing it. You can go to configuration once again. You can go for appearance. They change the color setting as per your need. Say okay. Right. I'm not setting the timer. Let's go to, you can directly go for keyboard shortcut is F6. Okay, export to. It is giving errors just because. Okay, I'm going to the exercise. Now this is how it is happening, right? Now you may ask the student to go for the chronology in which it should be there. Okay. And so on. So this is jumbled sentence exercise. Just for this, it has nothing to do with the, you can say don't look at the, I should say the statement, whatever I have made, but you can make it as per your own need, right? So this is all about, I should say and one more important aspect I would like to inform you, that is this hot potato, it complies to the SAMR model. So it is a standard tool, right, which is being used extensively by the teaching community worldwide. All right. The last one is, you remember, that is the last one is you can, whatever exercises you have created, you can create it as a one unit. See, this error is appearing just because I am giving some blank spaces in the name, right? There's no other reason for that. So you can go for the J masher. Let's say you have created 5, 6 exercises. You want to create it as a one unit. Okay. So simply what you need to do is JMasher I have invoked, go to this add files. Now I can pick up all those exercises which I have created. All those files I can create. So what it will do, it will create it as a one bundle of exercise. Okay. Now I'm doing, may happen, will give some random response. Say okay to all. Okay. Now there is a, if you look at the bottom, you will find that there is a build unit. Now I am creating it as a one unit. So it is creating a use. So file name contains spaces. Okay, that's why it is giving error, but that doesn't make any difference. Okay. Okay. Now what I can do, sorry, I don't know whether I have saved it. I think I forgot to save it. Actually, you need to save it, and then just like you go for, let's try it one more. Okay, add files. For simplicity, what we will do, we will add only 3. Okay, say OK to all. Okay, build unit. Yes. Yes. Now this is what is happening. Randomly I have picked up. That's why it is giving assignment 1. Let's say if I click on this assignment 1, okay, the first assignment will appear and so on. So what I intend to say is this is a very handy and small tool, but equally very powerful for particularly building for exercises which requires, I should say, the objective type of assessment. Okay, so you can very well build it, and you can have fun with, you can say, assessment. Okay. So I'll stop this particular tool here itself. And the second tool, which I was talking about, is nothing but what is called as, let me close all these windows, is nothing but the Socrative. So simply Google it. Okay, this is a tool which can, again, you can have the same functionality, but in a, what should I say, online mode, right? So intentionally, I am taking this one as second. The reason behind is you have to, if you want to have a pro functionality, okay, you have to have what is called as the paid version of this, right? So it comes with some limited functionality, okay, Socrative. Okay, you need to log in first of all. As a, say, for teacher, there is a separate login. For a student, there is a separate login. Okay, so if you create some assignment, all those 4, 5 sort, whatever we have seen with the help of hot potatoes, same can be done using this Socrative, right? But it will be a web-based version. But you need to share the, just like we share the class code, okay, on the parallel line, you need to share the one simple code with your students so that they need not have to create, the student need not have to create any account. They can directly click on the link provided by you and they can directly join. Okay. So when you click on student login, it will ask for that code. Teacher login is no problem. Okay. If you don't have any account, doesn't matter. Okay. You can sign in with your Google credentials or whatever, right? So I'm signing in. I have created. Right. So as I was talking about, that is, you can create quiz once again, multiple choice questions, okay, true and false, short answer, okay, and so on and so forth. So what I need to share with my student is only this code, that is Atik 6972. Okay, and if you look at this, you have a pro functionality here. So Get Pro is the paid version of the same tool, right? Now, you can launch any quiz, okay? You can create a number of rooms, okay? You can see live what is going on, what are the various student activities. You can very well see with the help of this live, okay? So, you know, this is what I did when I conducted the last session. So I am launching it, okay? Now it comes with AI functionality as well, right? you can give the topic, it will create a number of questions. Let's say for this 8 days program, I want to create a quiz, okay, on NEP 2020. So it will come up with some, but with this demo version, you will have again maybe 10, 20 questions. But if you have a pro version, it will very well create for you, right? So you can toss anything like say IKS, or you toss the keyword, just like we write prompt in case of, you can say ChatGPT. On the parallel line, you can write some prompt here and you can very well get the answer. Okay. Now, if you can see here, I can, as it from teacher login, I can see create, you can see I can invite student. What I need to do is I need to share this code. Let's say if some of you, if you wish to go for a live activity, you can very well join. Simply Google, you can say Socrative student login, put in this particular code and log in. Okay. Once you log in, okay, your name will appear here. You can see with the help of, you can say, Socrative student login. Right. Now it is asking for that room number, whatever I was talking about, which is nothing but Atik 6972. So I can put that Atik 6972 here. Okay. Enter your name. I can put my name for identification purpose, or I may skip. Okay. So what are the proposed changes in higher education? The first question is appearing here. Okay, under the NEP 2020. Okay, you can submit your answer. Okay, type something here and submit the answer. Okay. It is saying now that the first question was short answer type. Okay, wherein it was expected that being a student, I should type some stuff over there. The second one is a MCQ. Okay. So in one go, as I said, with hot potato, you can create a bundle and so on, right? On the parallel line, you can have the same functionality in an online manner. But the biggest problem with this is it is a paid version, right? So if you want to have full-fledged functionality, you can play with this particular tool, okay? But if you want to have a full functionality, you have to pay some money for it, right? So, which language policy does the National Education Policy 2020 emphasizes? No language policy, English only instruction, bilingual education, or three language formula. Let's pick three language formula. Submit the answer. Right. Now it is coming up with the you can say my answer is, and it is coming up with some explanation as well, right? So which language policy does this? This three language formula, that is English, right? Hindi, and one your local language, maybe Marathi, right? So it emphasizes three language formula to promote this and so on. Okay, you can have that sort of thing, right? So this is now moment I have logged in as a student from the same machine. My teacher's console is no more there. So what I'll do, I'll put this one on hold. Again, I will log in as a student. Let's see what is happening there. Okay. Now this 4 minutes ago, okay, what has happened? Now, if you look at this on the right hand side panel, you have actually again delivery method is again two, three delivery method is there. One is the open navigation, again teacher paged is there, and instant feedback is there. So I was showing you that instant feedback. Okay, I can even set my quiz in such a way wherein I can shuffle the questions. Okay, so two students sitting side by side, they will not have any possibility to share the answers and so on. I can even shuffle the answers. I can even show question feedback, right? I can show the final score, or I can keep it with me only as a teacher. Okay. And there is one attempt pro functionality is there. Okay. That will be for only one attempt. I am using it. I'll not use it. I'll keep it for some other day, right? So this is the another important tool, what is called as the Socrative, right? Socrative, right? Now, apart from this, you have various functionalities here, like say you can create reports. Okay, so these are the reports available. Whatever quiz I have conducted, these are the reports. So I need not have to keep any kind of record. The person at what time he or she logged in. Okay, what is the activity, student activity, what are their score, all those things will be kept in this particular reports, right? So again, I can create rooms, I can add rooms if required. See, this is the add room button is there. Okay, by simply clicking on this, I can create an additional room. So maybe I can have, if I'm teaching to 2-3 different classes, so I may have 2-3 rooms, something like that, right? So library is there, okay, and launch I have already shown you. Okay, this is the library. It will show me all the quizzes. I can delete them by simply clicking on those things and so on. And launch, I think I have already demonstrated, right? So MCQ, short answer, and true false. Okay, same functionality which we have seen with the help of the advantage of you can say the hot potato is you can use it as a small tiny tool. And let's say if your institution you are having your own intranet. Okay, I was expecting few questions, but let's see that. Yeah, I am almost done. One more tool is there. Okay, that let me demonstrate. The another important tool which one can use is what is called as, let's go with net logo, right? So this is again, once again, an open source tool, and this can very well be exploited for explaining some, I should say, very difficult concepts, right? Let's go to this. This is again a academic, I should say, product. As I was talking about that initially, Bloom's taxonomy, whatever you are experiencing nowadays, okay, which is being practiced all across the globe, it is the product of a committee, right, which has been constituted by a university, right? That is how they work, right? And our committees, how we work, we are all well acquainted with. Anyway, so this is another tool, right? Net logo, as I was talking about, this is a free and open source tool. And if you look at the, you can say the URL, you will find that it is ccl.northeastern.edu. It is once again a Northeastern University website. So you can take this as a, you can say, supporting tool. Let's say if you are teaching a subject wherein some difficult concept is there, I will demonstrate you one of the, you can say, the model. Okay, let us go to library on the left hand side. Okay, once you go to library, you have various things over there. Let's go to computer science. Okay, so I'm going to computer science. And this is the model which I have selected. Let's say the ANN I am trying to explain. Okay, the another typical problem is dining philosophers problem. So it gives you everything about this model. Okay, the entire documentation, everything is there along with the, see, the specialty is the source code is again there. Okay, so you need not have to worry. Okay, some of the student, let's say if they want to download the source code and play with it, they can very well do that, right? So I will try to run it in a NetLogo web. This is what the ANN model, it is being loaded. Yes. So there we are. Now I am setting up the context, going for training if it is a neural network. Now it is showing me, now I can fine tune all these parameters here, right? I can change these parameters, whatever input, the learning rate, I can make changes. I can see these are the number of epochs. And once it will be trained, or you have various options like say train once or train it, Okay, and then you can very well observe the result, how it is in a simulated manner, how it is to be explained to the student, right? So you can use this as a supporting tool for, I think yesterday Ali sir was talking about some simulation and all, right? So this can be used as a tool for explaining difficult concept. Okay, so this net logo is again very powerful tool. Now I think it's all from my end. One more tool is there, what is called as the answer garden. Okay, you can try that tool. Okay, answer garden is for getting the instant feedback. Let's say if you want to do some sort of brainstorming, if you are taking an online session and you want to brainstorm on a particular question or a topic, okay, you can use answer garden. Okay, just try to demonstrate you. This is a typical answer garden. .ch is the website. Okay, so feedback on the session. Let's say I'm through with my session. Let's say I want to gather the feedback. Okay. So this I can use. Again, there are different modes here. Okay. I can log in with my credential, whatever I have created. Okay. So brainstorm is there, classroom mode is again there, moderator is there, and the log mode. These are the 4 modes in which this answer garden can be used. Okay. So you can have something like this. Again, it comes with limited functionality, and the issue with this particular tool is, I will not say issue, but the characteristic of this particular tool is the respondent can give answers in only 2 possible ways, either 20 character or 40 character. So 40 character is the max limit, as you can see here. I can go for either 20 or 40. Okay. So this is my admin password. You need to create it. Okay. You can have your email ID and so on. Other settings are again there. Go for create. Now I've created it. Now the student can reply, and all those answers will be populated here. Right. Now you may ask how the student will reply. I need to share the code once again or a link. Right. So that link, if I share with you, and if you click on that link, you will be directly taken up to this answer garden, wherein you can put your responses like say excellent, poor, or whatever. Right. So this tool one can use for gathering feedback from the participants, right, or from the student as well, right. So this one is the probably the last one. Again, I have few more, but we will just try some hands-on on class kick. By that time, if you have any queries with regard to whatever I have tried to cover in today's session, you can fire it. So this is the class click, right? This is again sign up for free. You need to create your credentials. Okay. I think I have created one. It was already there. So I will show you how it looks like, right? Or you can continue with Google or continue with Clever. Right? So let's continue with Google with some account. Let's say right. So I need to give some email ID and password. Okay. Class kick is again used for gathering responses. Again, I need to share the Okay, so this is all from my end as far as the first session is concerned. Okay, we can take a break for 5-10 minutes. Again, we will start with the second session. But by that time, if you have any queries with whatever little I have shared with you, you are free to ask. Thank you very much.
I think, sir, PV Ingole here.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
It was a very nice session, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Apart from that, yes, sir.
Basically, the tools that variety, one or two were known to me, but some of them were not known.
Thank you,
So definitely, we would like to try them in coming days in next
sir. Yes,
session.
sir. So
Yes.
particularly,
Thank
I
you, sir.
thought, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Please, sir. Sir. Yes, sir.
No, sir, go ahead, please.
No, sir. Sorry to interrupt you. What I thought that you are an autonomous institute, so you have
Yeah.
to use all these things, right, extensively, particularly for
Definitely.
you can say assessment. Yes.
Basically, using mobile phone during the classes that for the concepts that they already must have been known and they are not recalling. I extensively use mobile in classes. However,
Okay, sir.
gathering simple responses and yes, no kind of thing, mobile phone is a very useful utility and I do use it. I will start utilizing it, exploring it more with these new tools.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks for your comment.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So, apart from Ingole, sir, I was expecting some question from particularly the young faculty, right? Uh, but sir, this is my observation with due respect to all the senior faculty members that I am observing from day one that all the senior faculties are very regular when it comes to attending session and all. But juniors are a little bit missing from day one. I don't know you how many of you have observed. I have attended almost all sessions. Some time with my original name, sometime with Director HRDC, sometime with UGC MMTC, but I have attended almost all. But I, nobody from young faculty who would like to ask something. I was expecting a lot of questions. For example, यस सर कोई बोलना चाहेंगे मेरे ख्याल से एनीवे सर देखिए हम में से जितने भी लोग हैं with due respect I am telling you we will retire within 4-5 years down the line but the baton you have to carry forward and the things are not going to be easy I tell you right so you have to change many things I should say young teachers particularly right so you have to take up all these things little bit seriously. I should say. Yesterday, I think Ali sir was talking about on the parallel line. He said that we should be a lifelong learner. So I'll share one small story with you. Right? Maybe it will motivate the young faculty. That is, I have learned all these tools when I have undergone a 1 month course, extensive course okay, conducted by TTTI Bhopal, Technical Teachers Training Institute Bhopal. And it was in collaboration with Chandigarh as well as two other things. It was for mentor training. Right. So it was in COVID period and they have conducted these sessions in such a rigorous manner, I should say. They used to give us many assignments okay and that the deadline for those assignments was the same day itself right and they have adopted what should I say a flipped classroom kind of environment wherein they used to share some stuff with us in the morning bombard us with a little bit 1 hour or 1.5 hour of you can say some sharing on in the live meeting and the same evening they used to ask you have to submit this assignment prepare a lesson plan prepare something like that right so these training programs are basically intended for upskilling and reskilling right so I am little surprised that the young generation, those who should take these things little seriously, they are not taking. On the contrary, the senior faculty members like Nitin Ingole sir, I think I have seen even Poon sir very interactive in the last session. But I don't know.
Sir, may I
Yes,
speak
sir.
something?
Please, please.
In this regard, I would like to say that the spirit of inquiry is very important.
Yes, sir. That is.
Unless we inculcate it among teacher, it is very difficult to inculcate it among the students.
Good, sir.
So basically, Bloom's taxonomy as well as the OP talks about interactive
Yes, sir.
teaching learning. Unless we teacher become interactive, it is very difficult to accept student becoming interactive.
That's why I've raised this. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for that. My intention is not to hurt anybody's feeling.
No, it is not hurting, sir. I do take this. Even our junior faculty member will take it in positive way. I know,
Yes, sir.
and I hope this thing will definitely help them in taking it ahead. Thank you,
so
sir.
much. So we'll break for 10-15 minutes, 10 minutes, I should say, and then again we will gather, or whether we should continue. And that is again up to you, because I see actually what has happened. There are 8. This training program is for 8 days, right? This is for 8 days, and today is the last day. And as I was, I have I think rather engaged one session earlier. The reason was there were no resource person, I should say. So again, Diwali mood is everywhere. I understand, right? But still, looking at your response, so you can simply suggest me, sir. Is this okay, or shall we move ahead? We can spare a few more minutes in continuation, or shall I stop here? It is up to you to decide. So there are all 60 participants are there. The number is increasing. Good to see. Yes, sir. Whether we should continue, or because there is one more thing which is there on the agenda. That is, actually I was supposed to engage 2 sessions. So almost 1 hour 40 minutes is over. We have started dot at 9 a.m. and it is 10:45 now. So, and one small thing I wanted to share with you.
Sir,
Whether we
if
should
it's possible,
yes.
please continue.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we will just try to wind up maybe within half an hour. But the another important aspect I intend to share with you is how to write. This is again good for rather. This is intended for once again I should say that is this is intended for young faculty, right? So just allow me to have some water so that I can continue for another half an hour. 2 minutes, sir. We'll break for 1 or 2 minutes. And I hope my slides are visible by that time. Is it visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So once again, I should say good morning to one and all. Right. So this is what is the second important aspect which I wanted to share with you. That is particularly the faculty who are new. Okay, they should take this particular thing. They will rather I should say they will enjoy it in a sense. That is, whenever we go for writing proposal and for many times this is needed, right? If you are doing you can say research, okay, you require money, and money is not easily available, right? We have to create rather our own sources of money, okay, and then naturally the very first things which comes to your mind is that is how to approach various funding agencies and so on. So this next maybe 40-45 minutes, we will have a look at that is how to write proposal, rather successful proposal for fetching grants from various agencies like say DST or you can say AICT and so on, right? And what are the mistakes normally we commit while writing proposals, right? How we can avoid those mistakes and so on. So that is what is there as far as this session is concerned, and these are the learning objectives. That is the very first one is finding a private government funding agency, right? So I will not uh, go into the details of all the funding agencies, but this will give you an overview. That is how it is to be done in a successful manner. And let's say if you fail, what is to be done, in what way you need to modify it, your RFP and so on, right? So funding a private or government finding, the very first thing you need to do is you need to find out a private or government funding agency. Then you have to understand the requirements of a RFP. RFP is nothing but the request for proposal. Now, different funding agencies have different formats of asking for research proposal, right? So you have to, very first thing is you have to understand that RFP first, then how to prepare an RFP from scratch to finish. That is what we are going to look at. And once you have prepared an RFP, or during the preparation of RFP, what are the common mistakes we commit and how we can avoid that? That is the crust of the story as far as this session is concerned, right? So why write grant proposal, right? The obviously this will come to your mind. What is the motivation, right? So the motivation for attending this course, let's say if it is you are due for cash, okay, and you have to have 1 week, you are 1 week short, okay, you are attending this course, right? Similarly, what is the motivation for writing for grant proposal? So those who are new, okay, they will be surprised. That is, let's say if you want to become a professor, right? You have to have one major research project executed. So there are mandatory guidelines. That is one motivation, right? So if you want to excel in your domain, you have to write, right? The other things are there are very many positions. For example, if you want to be a vice chancellor of a university, then you must have executed minimum 2 major research projects, right? So it is mandatory requirement. So it is personal and professional growth. That is the obvious reason. Then understanding, exploring your chosen field. Let's say you want to explore whatever research you want to carry out in a greater detail. You have to have money. If you don't have money, definitely you will not be in a position to procure equipments, and no society or college will pump money for procuring equipment wherein your personal interests are involved, because ultimately you are the beneficiary, right? So that is the another area, right? And building credibility and scholarship, okay, that is the another reason. Grant writing normally provides, again you have to understand this, that is most of these funding agency, this is not specific to a particular funding agency, they provide money for various purpose. I should say in accounts term, they call it as head, right? So if you are getting money for equipment, let's say 5 lakh rupees, you have to spend that 5 lakh rupees for equipment only. You cannot reappropriate or readjust at your end and make some other expenses out of that equipment. Say out of 5 lakh rupees, if you have spent 3 lakh, 2 lakh, it is expected that you should refund, right? So for equipment, that is the one head. Second is the hiring of human resources. You can appoint research associate, right? Or research assistant for carrying out the research. For that purpose, again, most of the funding agencies, they provide money. And the third and the most important one is for attending, let's say, international conferences, workshop, and so on, right? So that is again funded by, you can say, the most of the funding agencies. So usually they give money under 3 different heads. And let's say if you are getting for whatever is the purpose, you have to spend that money for that particular purpose only. You cannot reappropriate at your end unless and until you have a prior permission from the funding agency, right? And it is strict to such an extent, let's say, if you have asked money for a desktop, okay, but while procuring, if you go for a laptop, okay, they may raise objections. right? And it may happen that you have to refund that money. So you have to take it very seriously. That's why preparing proposal, you have to keep in mind all these aspects, right? All these aspects. Now, the very first thing, as I have told you, that is finding a funding agency. Okay, now there are thousands of funding agencies. Okay, even if, let's say, if you wish to look at the government funding agencies, starting from AICT, which is more relevant to us, you have funding agencies like CSR, DRDO, DAE, PUSH, Ayush, DBT, MOC, that is Ministry of Code, Ministry of, you can say, Earth Sciences, and so on and so forth, right? So you have to find out the area. The very first thing you need to do is you have to find out the area in which you are working and whether your research objectives are in line with the research objectives of the funding agency. Okay, so that way you have to shortlist the funding agency. Say, for example, if you are approaching Ministry of Coal and your area is not environment conservation or preservation or climate change, then they will not fund money. Now you may say, sir, how to find out what is the area in which they are working? Okay, so what you can do, you can go to their website and you can find out what are the various projects they have funded in the recent past. Maybe 5 years down the line, let's say 20 odd projects. From the title itself, you can guess that is they are into which particular area, right? So accordingly, you have to map, or even if it is not so, you have to put your proposal in such a way, okay, that so that it should be in line with their objectives. Then and then they fund, right? So otherwise, normally they summarily reject, right? So there are agencies like say ISRO and so on, right? So at the bottom, I have specified the source from where I have gathered this. DIT is one of the agency which is giving nowadays huge money for electronics and computer research. Right, this is a separate department, rather society. They have created under Department of Electronics and Information Technology. The IT is again pumping a lot of money. Okay, then Ministry of Power is there. UGC is undoubtedly there, but intentionally I have kept it at the end. Okay, because we are from technical education, so that's why I've kept AICT on the top and the UGC at the bottom. So there is huge rush, I should say, in UGC and so on. So it's better if you go, as I said, that is if you select the appropriate funding agency and go ahead with that. So there is every possibility that you will get funding, right? Apart from national funding, normally we ignore, there are international funding agencies as well available, right? For example, UNDP is there, SGP is there, okay? Again, they pump money, okay? The only thing is that you need to approach them, fine? So normally, what are the mistakes we commit while identifying a funding agency? Okay, so funding agency goals, as I said, and the project goal should be in line. You are in X area and the funding agency is in Y area. There is very minimum chances that you will get fund from that particular. Okay, so as I said, that is how you will identify this. You need to research the past projects they have funded. Visit agency's website. Don't apply to an agency for a grant that is too big. Now, most of the funding agencies, they have a cap. For example, AICT, MRP, that is, or the research project, they fund, let's say, 50 lakh rupees. And if you go for a proposal wherein you are demanding 2 crore rupees, nobody will give it, right? So you have to restrict yourself to the cap, whatever has been provided by them in their RFP. Get institutional backing and support. This is very important, right? Because you have to have your institution backing, without which you cannot go ahead, right? So there are many documents wherein your principal or the society's signatures are needed. Okay, so you have to have all those backing. Otherwise, there is you will face trouble, right? So don't assume the funding agency knows your strength. Now, while preparing the RFP, you have to keep in your mind, many times we feel that they know everything about us, but that is not the case. Rather, that is never ever the case, right? So you have to demonstrate your strength, the areas in which you are good. Now you may say, sir, how it is to be demonstrated? You have to come up with, when you are putting up your PI's, actually the profile, okay, you should come up with publication which are in line with the funding agency's objective. Now follow the agency's instruction. Again, this we do it very casually. Many times what we do, we know that this sponsorship letter is needed, but we do not follow the pro forma which has been provided by them. So most of the government agencies, they are very critical and very serious about, they have to have the pro forma or the letter exactly in the pro forma prescribed on their website or in the RFP. So you have to follow, you should not apply your brain. Okay, so there are many slash and many things we need, which you feel that it is irrelevant, but for them it is very much relevant. So you have to copy and paste, put it on your, you can say the principal's head or the college head, and get it signed, certified, and submitted as is. So follow the agency's instruction for every purpose, right? Whether it is sponsorship letter or whatever, right? Now, first step, finding ideas, right? Now, you may say, how to find an idea? Okay, naturally, I'll not talk much on this, but you can say, let's say the literature, okay, you have to carry out extensive literature survey. You have to gather experiences of your seniors, those who have already executed some projects. And many times we have to brainstorm with our colleague, but most of the time it is missing in our society. But again, we have to follow this. Okay, many times you get suggestions, okay, which are enormous, right? So first step in finding literature review, experience, brainstorming with your colleagues, and so on. Then formulate the problem. For that particular purpose, you need to ask these questions to yourself. What problem am I trying to solve? What do I need to solve the problem? What exactly the manner in which I can approach this particular problem? And what happens when the problem is solved? The third one is very important, because you have a question in most of the RFP indicating the impact of your solution or the research problem you have chosen on the society. Now, I'll put it, I'll little bit elaborate this. Say, for example, you are into IoT, right? And if you claim that you are working on IoT and you are coming up with a gadget, okay, which can be used for some or the other purpose. So the very first thing which comes to your mind is, let's say, if you mold the same problem in such a way that the gadget which you are planning to design, okay, using IoT technology, if it can help for woman protection or woman empowerment. Okay, so if you formulate the problem in such a way that it has some or the other impact on the society, or which can address a societal problem which is very much relevant on those days, okay, there is every possibility that you will get successful, right? So if the problem is solved, what is the impact? So you have to mold it. Many times we focus on the technology, we focus on the other aspects, but we neglect the societal benefit. And in most of the RFP, you will find that there is one complete paragraph or one section is there wherein they ask for the societal relevance, right? So that's why this last one, what happens when the problem is solved, it is very important and crucial, right? Now, what is there usually in a RFP? Usually you have these many things. Okay, this is in general, this is not specific to UGC or AICT or any other funding agency. But normally you have abstract, you have introduction, background, literature review, problem statement, research question, proposed research methodology, and expected outcomes and deliverables. So this is the last one. If you remember the last question which I have told you, right? So expected outcomes and deliverable is very important, right? So that is the portion most of the reviewers they go through thoroughly, right? Project abstract, right? Even though this appears to be the first, okay, it should be written at the end, because this is something which requires some sort of art, I should say, right? So writing a project abstract, again, you have to confine to the number of words limitation given in the RFP. Most of the funding agencies, they specify that 350 words abstract should be there. So you have to simply select the text and count the number of words. Should not go beyond that, right? Many times we write abstract which are in 2 pages. Okay, so abstract has to be all the time in single page only, right? And it should cover from scratch to finish. So that's why it is advisable that it should be written at the end, right? So write this particular thing at last, okay? It should be one page and should be self-contained. Self-contained meaning thereby you should not ask the reader to refer something else to understand your abstract. And that's why if you critically observe that in abstract, we do not have square brackets, okay, wherein we put our references. So abstract should be self-contained, meaning thereby it should be self-explanatory, and it should not compel the user to read something else, right? And it should be written to attract the readers to your proposal, right? Abstract should be something, let's say if I am reviewing your proposal, moment I am reading the first line, I should be compelled to read the last line of that particular abstract, at least, right? So summary of the contents of the proposal, brief but contains sufficient details about, see, look at what is expected in abstract, motivation for the work, project objectives, proposed techniques, expected results and conclusions. So everything from start to finish, I should say, right? So that's why it is not possible to write it in the beginning. Each statement is nothing but each section. Let's say there are 7 sections, then 7 statements with regard to that, or maybe 7 into 2, 14 statements with regard to all the sections. So this is how it is to be addressed, right? It should include focus of the project, activity to be undertaken, target audience. Now, who is the target audience, right? Implementation plan, performance measurement, and should talk about budget as well. So it should talk about everything about your RFP, right? So that's why it is, I should say, it is the most difficult thing to write, right? So again, you need to adhere to the RFP requirement, if any. As I said, that is 350 words, right? Address the need of the funding agency. Now, this is very important. If you do not relate your need with the funding agency's need, there is every possibility that you will fail. And the same thing has happened with me when I have applied for in 2005 or 7. 7, I have applied for 2 major research projects, and I failed twice, right? So what has happened, then I realized what mistake I am committing. Then I have taken it little bit seriously, right? And the third attempt I got successful. So what I intend to say is that is you have to identify what are your mistakes. And many times we are very, very casual while writing anything, right? That should not happen, because the people sitting over there, they are the masters in their domain, right? So address the need of the funding agencies, make it engaging and energetic, even though it seems to be very, very simple, but this is very challenging. Use active voice, right? All the time you have to use active voice. Passive voice is highly dangerous, right? Then introduction is there. It should be written second last. As I said, abstract should be written at the end. This is the last but one, actually, introduction, because almost all the reviewers, they go through your abstract and introduction. Most of the time they do not read the rest of the part, literature review up to whatever pages you have written. Okay, normally they ignore all those things, but they necessarily go through your abstract and they necessarily go through your introduction, right? So this should be again taken up very seriously. Okay, topic, define scope and limitation. Many times we are reluctant to say what are the limitations, right? Again, that has to be there. What is the importance, background, okay? And whether this is a general introduction to what the problem is all about, that has to be written clearly in introduction, right? Background, a brief section giving background. This is historical perspective. Many times some of the funding agencies say, or some of the funding agencies say, the literature background or background of the problem, whatever, right? So this is again important. Okay, you have to write it in the relevant. See, many times we do very extensive literature survey and we write a lot of stuff on literature survey. That should not be again the case, because again, in terms of number of pages, you have limitation. That is, the project proposal should not exceed more than 30 pages. Then let's say if you are talking about literature review, about 25 odd pages, okay, 1 page abstract, 1 page problem definition, then what is left, right? So that is again, that creates a wrong impression on the reviewer, right? So literature review must be very relevant literature. You have to take which is there in the recent past, particularly in computer science and IT or electronics. Last 3 years or 5 years down the line is more than enough, right? Problem statement, it should be written concise statement wherein the every statement should be crystal clear. There should not be any ambiguity, in a sense. That is, and you have to have some justification for that, right? So it's better if you write in a justified manner, right? Problem statement. What are the peculiar characteristics that a successful grant proposal must possess? The very first characteristics that a successful grant proposal must possess is it should be compelling. It should compel the user to read from start to finish, है ना? So जैसे novel होता है आपका, So now normally we start and many times we even forget about the lunch or the dinner. Okay, and we read it unless and until we go to the last page. Okay, we never wish to we wish that nobody should interrupt us in between. So it should be compelling, right? It should be written in a professional manner. And if you can take help of some visuals, that is again important. Should be result oblique outcome oriented, particularly in science and technology. Okay, whatever proposal we write should be result oriented, outcome oriented, right? Then should be built on a strong foundation and data driven. So let's say you are talking about woman empowerment, you have to establish that why this problem is important. Okay, so you have to see what are the various incidences which took place in the recent past and why this problem is of so importance. That is, we need to protect women from various types of heinous crime, right? So it should be data driven. So if you come up with facts and figures, okay, compel the user to read, right? So should be done in that particular manner. Should be easy to read. Many times when we want to impress someone, we try to use English, okay, which is difficult to understand. Okay, we should avoid it. Should be written in small statements, okay, which anybody can read, a layman can read and understand it. Should be properly formatted. If there are some instructions given in the RFP, let's say Times New Roman 12, 1.5 line spacing, you have to adhere to those instructions strictly. Don't apply your brain. Don't make bold and maybe 2.0 line spacing and so on. And do not write too many goals. Why it is so? Because you have a limited period of time. Most of the funding agencies, they fund for 3 years. Okay. So let's say you are getting projects from 2024. So 27 is the deadline. Okay. So 3 years, you cannot achieve 100 odd goals. Okay. So you must justify that whatever goals you are putting in the RFP should be justifiable, action oriented, right? And keep in your mind, you are not writing a research article. Now, here we commit the mistake, right? Writing a research article is altogether different, and writing a research proposal for grant is completely different, right? So you have to distinguish between them, because here the more emphasis is given on some other parameters, right? So that you have to always keep in mind. So many times we forget that and we commit mistake, right, while writing. We feel as if we are writing a research article or research paper. So that should not happen. Okay. Use minimum words. Okay. Use pervasive writing techniques. Okay. Ask your colleague to proofread many times, but again, we normal never ever do it. Okay. Clearly plan. This planning is again important. Okay. Show value, that is, don't overpromise. Okay. Many times we overpromise. We feel that we will achieve this, and we will have a website functional by the end of the project. And later on, when you go for a midterm evaluation, okay, they will ask you, you have promised these many things. What is the status now? Okay. So out of 20 odd objectives, you have achieved only 2. Sorry, we will not fund you. The second installment will not release. At least you should go with some 10, right? So make it feasible and practically realizable, right? So it should be realistic and achievable, right? And given time frame. So this time frame is important, right? And make it, you can say, feasible as well. So again, timeline answer, that is, you have 3 lines, 3 years, as I said. So you need to provide details, that is, for 6 months, what you will do, procurement of equipment, next 6 months, what you will do, whether you will go for literature survey, next 6 months, whether you will conduct some, you can say, surveys or studies as per your need. Okay. And then next 6 months, whether you will be going for some publication or attending some conference and so on. So you must have 3 years plan in your hand while writing the entire proposal, right? So this timeline is very important, and you have to narrate each and every activity very precisely. Say, let's say, for 6 months, if you have identified that procurement of equipment, who is the person responsible for this? Whether the PI will execute it or whether it will be executed by the research assistant or research associate and whatnot, right? So you have to clearly come up with all these timeline net charts and so on, right? Then budget. I'll go a little fast. Okay, I know Diwali season is going on, right? So budget, again, you have to define the priorities, maybe provides the insight, indicates how money will be spent, Again, there are two types of cost many times, that is the direct cost or indirect cost, how it is to be handled. That is direct cost, normally salary, fringe benefits, salary to whom? Salary to the research assistant or research associate. Okay, maybe you are incurring some expenses on travel, so they have a travel separately, they have a travel grant head. Usually it is the in terms of percentage. Let's say you are getting 15 lakh rupees, then one maybe 10% of that amount is the travel, 1,50,000. Equipment cost varies as per your own requirement, and maybe some stationery supplies or cartridges and so on. So you can get all those things reimbursed from this direct cost. Indirect costs are like, say, utilities, rent. You may say, sir, rent. Your society may ask rent for the facility they are giving. They are giving you some laboratories, or they are giving you drinking water and other facilities, electricity. So they may ask you to give some rent, and it is very much possible. If you put it in the appropriate head, you can very well reimburse that. Legal services, if you are filing a patent, again, you can incur cost on that. Insurance cost, okay, if there are some high cost equipment involved in your project, and it is mandatory to go for insurance in that case, that can be again incurred from this indirect cost. Okay, and usually it is in the percentage of the total cost of the, say if it is 50 lakh, 10% of that, maybe 5 lakh is the total cap for this indirect cost, which includes all these five heads, whatever I have told. Right? You have to have justification. That is the rationale behind the numbers. है ना, 5 लाख रुपए आपने ट्रैवलिंग के लिए रखे हैं, तो how this 5 lakh you arrive at, right? So you have to have your own justification, because normally they ask all these questions when you appear for you can say presentation with the funding agency. They ask you, why this 5 lakh rupees, why not 3? They try to minimize it. Okay, they try their level best to minimize it. Okay, and usually the amount requested, ideally it should be there, amount funded. All these things are there ideally, but you, in short, you have to have your budget justification. That is the bottom line of the discussion, right? Now, evaluation, again, let's say if you are working in a big organizations, and if you can submit only 3 or 2 proposals, so you may have some internal evaluation, external evaluation, right? It is better to always have an external evaluation, because the third party normally gives better assessment of your work, right? Again, submit your assessment. I will not go into the details. Dissemination plan strategies, this again I'll just try to skip, right? We will just try to have a look at some other sources of continuing funding, right? Apart from the agencies which I have listed out in the probably the second or the third slide, wherein I have listed out the government agencies, but those are the conventional sources of funding. But now the things have changed, right? You have other sources of funding as well. So you have budget head in most of the private companies, what they called as the CSR, corporate sponsorship, right? CSR, right? CSR. So under CSR, you can get some money, even from private firms like say Tatas and Birlas and so on. You can raise money by commercializing your product, right, in the form of some product, and you can make money out of it. Let's say if you are giving some online services, you can charge some membership fees, just like Soccer@You and all, right? What do? They are charging some membership fee, right? They are giving you certain facilities, pro facilities, by against some money. So again, that way you can raise money. And there is which is going on nowadays at a big level, is what they call it as the crowdfunding, right? Crowdfunding and angel investor. So you can approach. There are some crowdfunding platforms available, rather many, okay, wherein you can pitch your ideas, okay, and you can fetch money for that, for execution of your project, and or you can approach the angel investors. Okay, angel investors are, again, there are people having money, ample money. Okay, they are waiting for the appropriate idea and they are ready to fund. So these are the non-conventional sources of you can say getting the money, right? So you can explore these as well. Now here you don't require any RFP and all. Okay, some simple 4 or 5 page proposal is enough for fetching crores of rupees, right? But that proposal has to be, the idea has to be really innovative, right? So Kickstarter or GoFunding, as I said, angel investors, some I have listed out here, but this list is indicative. There may be a number of, you can say, angel investor available across the globe, not necessarily within India. Even you can approach even foreign angel investor as well, right? And to end, okay, we have certain things like when it comes to, again, we'll go to the discussion where we have left with regard to the writing proposal and what are the mistakes normally we commit. Okay, in every RFP, normally there are appendices or annexures, what they call it as. Some agencies they call it as annexures, some agencies they call it as appendices. But these are very important, and you do not have all those things before submission of proposal, right? So there are dependencies, what I intend to say. So you need to gather, let's say if you are planning to submit a proposal, you need to gather letter of support from your institution. Okay, you have to use, as I said, the exact format as specified in the guideline. You have to prepare your resume or curriculum vitae, right? Or use the exact format. Again, many times we commit this. This is a very common mistake, I tell you. That is, we write our own resume maybe in 25 or 30 pages. My resume itself is 30 pages, right? But most of the funding agencies, they come up with some specified. So they want that is to be used. So if it is, let's say, 2-page format, you have to use it as it is, right? Many times they ask for number. They do not ask for the details. Let's say when it comes to your publication, they do not ask for your details. They will ask you how many Scopus Index journal paper you have, how many SCI Index journal paper you have, and so on. Or they may ask you some your Scopus ID. Nowadays the things are changing, right? They may ask you your Scopus ID, or they may ask you your even Orchid ID, and that is enough for them, right? Or they may ask you to give your let's say the Vidwan profile ID, right? That is many times is enough for them to understand they are dealing with whom, right? And this audited statement, as I've told you, particularly in societies and so on, okay, that is again needed many times. And NB and NAC certification, right? This is probably the last but not the least, I should say. Okay, if your institution is not accredited with a specified grade, okay, they are very keen about that, right? So it may happen that you are not you do not satisfy the eligibility criteria as such, right? So there are very many things wherein you have to have NBA and NAC accreditation, right? That is again needed with a specified grade, right? So will not go into all these things, right? Again, with regard to budget, we commit these mistakes. Okay, many times we do not asking for enough money. Let's say if your project execution cost is, and again, one important aspect we normally ignore is you are submitting the proposal as on date, let's say, and it may get executed maybe 1 year down the line. Then it may happen that the cost of certain equipment will rise depending upon the government policies and so on, right? Or due to inflation, right? So it is better to have a 10%, I should say, plus minus. Always plus, I should say. Minus, there is rare possibility that the prices will go down. But this is the problem normally most of us we face while executing the project, right? So it's better to, let's say, if you are asking for equipment, the cost of that equipment is 5 lakh rupees. Instead of claiming 5 lakh rupees, because it is the approximate cost, you may quote 5,50,000 rupees, right? And the another mistake normally we commit is when it comes to adding all those values, since we write in MS Word or any other word editor, okay, we commit very common mistake is we forget some zeros, and when it comes to total, okay, maybe 20 lakh rupees, it is looking like say 20,000 rupees. So that should not happen. You have to take utmost care, right, while putting up the figures. Because these zeros can change your life, right? So zero is not, you cannot ignore one simple zero, right? So miscalculation of numbers, it creates a bad impression on the reviewers. So that is again the very common mistakes normally we commit while writing the projects, right? So with this, I think I have done. Okay, this is all from my end. And I think it is almost as promised, that is within 40-45 minutes, right? So this is all from my end. If there are any queries, I'll be happy to answer. And before we end, I wish you all a very happy Diwali. And sorry to trouble all of you on Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. right? And that too continuously. But this is a role play. You have to understand my position, right? Whatever I have done, it was the requirement of my position, right? So thank you very much. And if there are any queries with regard to whatever I have shared just now, I'll be happy to answer. Yes, sir. I hope you people are with me. Again, 60, the number is intact. 60 participants are still there. And thank you, Anja Javanjal madam. Very nice session. So, Bamnote sir is there. Very good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon. It was really
Very good afternoon.
nice session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And on behalf of the participant, the institute, I also request you, or rather take this opportunity. As you said, the young faculties, they were not as expected involved. So I request you to conduct a physical session.
Great, sir. I'll be happy to, sir. That is my alma mater. I did my masters from the same institution, PRM ITNR, and I am proud to be associated with a great institution like PRM ITNR, right, sir? So I'll be happy at any time you ask me. I'll try to motivate them, okay, to the best possible extent, right, sir? Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Atik sir.
Very good afternoon, sir. Boliye. Raul,
This is
sir.
V.R. Raut from
Yes,
PRM
sir.
ITR.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
IQAC coordinator, sir.
Yes, sir. Please, sir. Very good afternoon.
Thank you, Bangladesh sir. As far as funding goes,
Yes, sir.
is it like self-financed institutes guessed
Yes.
the last priority?
Sir, I should not talk this because this meeting is being recorded, but there are reasons to it, sir.
Yeah.
There are why it is so. It is, you have rightly pointed out. You have been most of the time given last priority. The reason pretty simple is that it is their perception, the funding agency's perception. I should not say that all the colleges are of that sort, but it has been reported many times that the projects are being executed not in the spirit in which the funding agency expects. So there are certain irregularities, I should not say, okay, which has been observed, and that may be one of the reason why they treat you little bit differently. Actually, ideally, it should not happen, but now the things are changing, sir. Now the things are changing. I think your institution has got Atal FDP, if I am not wrong. Earlier, they were confined to only the government institution and universities. But
Yeah,
now they
yeah.
are opening up. Now they are realizing even private institutions are again performing well. है ना सर? तो ये चीज तो है, लेकिन that should not be the bottleneck, sir. What I feel, that is, you should try and try, and sometime they will realize that they are on the wrong path. You know?
Yeah, keep on trying. That is the best
Yes,
approach.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Keep on
Okay,
trying.
thank you very much. I have listened very carefully all of your lecture,
Sir.
and it was
Thank
a
you.
wonderful lecture.
Thank you,
and
sir.
We really enjoyed it. We got
Thank you
very
so much.
new things
Thank you
in
so
your.
much. So nice of you. And
Sir,
you are
thank
all
you,
my
sir.
colleague. I am a small man to interact with you because I think there are many people with whom I have studied, right? And you are my just friends and colleagues, right? So I once again thank you all, Harshad Deshmukh sir, particularly Bamnote sir, Raut sir, and I think Tushar Deshmukh sir I was surprised that he was active from day one to, I don't know today whether he is there, but he was very much active in all the sessions. So
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
sir. I
Thank
am
you.
Vasu, madam.
Thank you, sir.
sir, as
Hello,
you are
sir.
there, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
अतिक सर,
जी मैडम बोलिए.
हाँ हाँ, आप मुझे वसु मैडम के नाम से पहचानते हो.
ओके. अच्छा.
हाँ.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I am
Vasu madam.
Javanda.
Yes,
Yes.
Vasu. Yes.
Ah, yes. Yes, sir.
Yes. So there are all known faces, and it was
हाँ.
nice as yesterday sir was talking about. It was nice interacting with you all and sharing little experiences, whatever I have. Right. So,
Yes, sir.
once again, thank you. I will take your leave with the permission
and
of
happy Diwali to you.
Bamnote sir, the principal. And I wish you all a very happy and prosperous Diwali. Let us hope that this Diwali will give you all the happiness, right? And let us hope that, yes, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
will be the last
Best
session.
wishes to you
Yes,
too.
sir. Today, this is the last session, and I think I don't know how many of you have attempted the quiz, but if not, all of you have attempted the quiz. That is the important part of the
Yes, sir.
yesterday.
Attended and submitted.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, okay.
हाँ.
So that is
Sir,
the
this-
mandatory requirement. I request you, if you have not attempted, you try it once. Okay. By today evening, we will close it down. Okay. Yesterday we have closed it, but I think there are few requests I am receiving on the WhatsApp. So we will open it for today. Okay. This is the important announcement. Those who have not attempted it, they are requested to please attempt the quiz by 6 p.m. today. In any case, right? Okay, so that we can release your certificate, right? So certificates will be released on the WhatsApp group only. Okay, it will be e-certificate. You can very well download it. And I think with this, we'll stop here, sir. Bamnote, sir, if you have anything to say. As a coordinator, you are the coordinator, sir, for me.
So thank you, sir. So formally, I should thank.
No, sir, no, not at all. Not needed. But if you were, I was looking at your face, that's why I said, yes, sir.
For this enriching 2 days, 2 weeks NEP 2020 orientation sensitization program. So it was really honor to have this active engagement of all the faculty members, participants. And I should rather thanks to Sant Garge Baba Amravati University, UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center for their invaluable collaboration and commitment. Just now, VR Out sir said that it is always difficult for an unaided institute because maybe they don't have a trust, but then we should be happy that
Yes,
we
sir.
have
Yes,
collaboration.
Gradually, yes, sir. Gradually, it will improve, sir. You will get it. Don't worry, sir.
So special thanks to our own Dr. Atik sir, the director,
Thank you,
for
sir.
your valuable support throughout this 2 week program. And really, your guidance was instrumental in creating this platform. Starting, you initiated rather, and then this program was carried out. Right? It was a great learning, great collaboration. To all the speakers, Dr. Marathe sir, I should have deep gratitude to them, Dr. Marathe sir. Then the tough session of Prasad Khanjode sir, who put all discipline. Then Dr. Abba Rao sir, Vinod sir, Godil sir, Maitre sir, probably session with Maitre sir, then very informative session by Srinivas sir, followed by Kumar Suresh, then Reza Abbas, and then our Ali sir. And special thanks to Ankit Thakur sir for arranging this and then being
Yes, sir.
He
He is the backbone of the UGC HRDC, sir. He is the man behind all these success stories. He is the man behind all these success. Yes.
They were all behind the participants so that there should be engagement and learning.
Yes.
Even I should appreciate all our participants for their active
Yes.
engagement. Their
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Also,
I should say that they deserve a round of applause, right? Because see, listening is the most difficult part. That too for a teacher, right? Listening for continuously 3 hours is the biggest challenge. I should say delivering is not that easy.
and in spite of all their submissions and all engagement, we
Yes,
had
sir.
MMTTC and then submissions. So in spite of that also, and then most important was the Diwali preparation. So still they are there. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And I think this opportunity to request Atik sir so that he will
Yes,
have a physical, at least 1 day session for our faculty meetings. So thank you very
At
much.
your service, sir. At any point of time, whenever you will call you, I will be there. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you
sir.
very much.
Post Diwali, we will have a session
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
subject to
Definitely.
your time and
Yes, sir.
availability.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you
Definitely.
very much,
Thank
sir.
you.
All the best and happy Diwali. Thank you.
Thank you. And from me, once again, wish you all very happy Diwali and thank you for your cooperation and support and making this particular program grand success, I should say, right? Particularly to the management of PRMITNR and all the participants who took lot of effort. I know how difficult it is, right? Your examinations were going on, very many things simultaneously happening, right? And
Yes.
the Diwali was there. So once again, I thank you. I put on records, right? My sincere thanks to all the participants.
So I request all the participants to, if possible, can switch on their
Cameras.
camera so that we can
Yes,
have a quick
Yes, 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 sir.
click with Atik sir.
Yes, sir. Please, if it is possible to all of you, that would be better.
Stop sharing.
I need to stop sharing. You want to say? Yes, sir. I have stopped sharing now, sir. Gupte, sir.
Good morning, Sirji. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Bloom taxonomy.
Oh,
Good morning, Mamnote sir.
Morning.
Nice session conducted by
sir.
Dr. Atik sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
भी सर थोड़े कैमरा
अभी ठीक है, सर.
काळे सर आ गए बीबी सर का थोड़ा सा कैमरा ऊपर
टीव्ही, सर.
हॅलो ऐकून राहिला म्हटलं पूर्ण
हो हो
काल काल अली सर त्याच्यात होते पूर्ण
स्माइल सर थैंक यू
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, happy
Thank you,
Diwali
sir.
to all of you.
Yes,
sir.
very happy Diwali
Yes.
to all. of
Thank you and
Right?
same to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let us
Thank you, sir.
tell you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Happy Diwali to all of you.
Yes, sir. Happy Diwali, sir. आपको भी. चलिए. Thank you. Sir, I am ending the meeting for all. If you allow. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.